Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, you have my May TBR. This month, I do not have any readathons guiding my plans. I seem to remember last year there was a succession of readathons that took me through August, but I don't remember what I did in May of last year, so I made my own plans. And those plans are guided by three things. One is my SCASL project, and so I have a series of books that I plan to read for that one. Two, I want to start reading through my BookBox books, and I have a series of books to get through that goal. And three, I want to get caught up with my ARCs. I don't have a series of books for that because they are digital ARCs. Along with that, I do have my lists that I'm going through. So without further ado, here are the books that I plan to read in the month of May. So I'm going to start with my list, my year-long goals. And one of these books does help with my BookBox plans. So the first of those is my Buzzwordathon book, and that, I think for May, I think the prompt was flavors. And so I chose Spice Road by my Ibrahim. This gorgeous book is also representing the YA Fairy Loot in my BookBox goal for this month. The next list that I'm picking from is my 23 and 23. And for that, it is getting through BookBox books, sort of. I actually have two versions of this from BookBoxes. One is hardcover, one is softcover. So I'm not technically repeating any BookBoxes this month because of how many books that I want to read, how many ARCs that I need to get caught up on. However, this came in the YA LitJoy crate, which they don't do any longer. I'm on the list to try their To Be Read subscription, but I haven't gotten off of that. And that is Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Weber. I have this gorgeous edition with gilded edges, and I really like the cover. And I believe the other side is that image. So I am excited, hopefully, to get through this one. So that is for 23 and 23. And then we have another one of my 23 and 23 books, which was an option for April, but I didn't get to that. And that is A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell. Then we come to the series that I want to start. I have plans for next month because one of my books, The Ruin of Kings, is the book for the Buddy Read for Jade with JD Reads Patreon. So I'm not doing that one. I'm saving that for June. And I also have a lot of books on this list. So I chose one of these shorter series on that list, even though it's not necessarily one that's at the top of my list. And I have chosen Defy the Night. If I like this one, it'll be easy to finish up this series. Last of my year-long goals is finishing series. And I tried to find other duologies that I had physical copies of. Yeah, back here on this shelf. But I don't have any of those. Although now looking back at it, I could have chosen Love and Luck, which they aren't direct sequels, and that's only one left. However, I really want to read this book, and this is one of the first ever pre-orders that I made, and I was on the list for the pre-order for a long time for this, even though it's quite chunky. Bone Shard War by Andrea Stewart. I am so excited about this book. So that's that portion. I have one of those books, Spice Road, for Fairy Loot YA. Now, I'm going to go in order of the stack that I have over here, which is kind of reverse order that are on my shelves. And I'm going to start with a book that I'm counting for a different subscription, but I'm not reading that version. And that is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. I'm so excited about this. I need to read this. I am counting this one, even though this is my book of the month book edition, I should say. I'm counting it for my Fairy Loot adult subscription. I'm not reading that one. That one's staying in a place of prominence. I got to figure out how to get it in the shot. So that's the first of the BookBox books. Next, we have the book that I am reading to count for my book of the month book for this month. And that is one that was well talked about, loved, beloved, talked about all the time on BookTube last year. And that is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Next, we have a book that was originally on my April TBR for both Realmathon and Magical Readathon. I had the audiobook via Scribd, and then Scribd did their thing where even though they say that they are unlimited, you get past a certain number of listens on there in a month and suddenly the book is no longer available until your billing date in the next month. And that's what happened to this one. So that is The Terraformers by Annalee Newitz. I did not really want to read this physically. I don't know what it was about it. I wanted to read the audiobook. So I figured out, I found another book with a map to count for that prompt in Magical Readathon. And so I'm going to be listening to this one in May. And this is my Caffeine and Legends book for this round of my book box books. Next, we have my Aardvark book for this month, and that is The Magician's Daughter by H.G. Perry. I realized, I don't know what made me think about it. I think someone talked about this book on a video that I watched. This is the same author as, I'm not going to remember the full title exactly, I think, The Declaration of the Rights of Magicians, which is a retelling and a play on the Enlightenment, but make those people magicians and etc. Same author. When I realized that, which was after I had this book, I got really excited for it. Next, we have my Blacklit book, which unfortunately, I think Blacklit is not going to make it very far in this process because I have yet to get my April book, and I'm filming this the second to last day of April, and I've reached out to them multiple times and I've heard nothing, and not even gotten a shipping notification. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to cancel that. So, but that book is the book by Jasmine Guillory. This is definitely a book outside of my comfort zone because it is a romance book and I don't tend to read romance. Next, we have my Goldsboro book, and I'm finally getting to this speedy, hence why you no longer see it right here, and that is, whoops, The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. This is what the book looks like out of the slipcase. Next, we have my Illumicrate book for the month, and for that one, because I knew I had a ton on here, I chose one of the smaller Illumicrate books and one that I've had for a while, and that is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. I'm really excited about this, and this book is just gorgeous. This was the first book that they were supposed to ship out of their U.S. warehouse fulfillment center. That's what it is. And they had that snafu. They're back on track now, but there's that one. And then lastly is my TBR, my tailored book recommendations book. I went through and I updated everything, put stuff on Goodreads like they asked, because I have another one coming up. So hopefully that one will go as well as the last one did, and not like the ones before. But that is one, this is one from that original, the very first box that I got from them. And I went with this one and not The Sentence by Louise Erdrich, which I may pick up if I have time in the month. But that is The Ivory Key by Akshaya Raman. And I did this one because I have an audiobook of it. And I have a lot of books that I'm trying to get through this month. The second section, or the third section, if you want to count my section going for those year-long goals that I have, is my SESL books. And I have chosen a mix of YA and middle grade for this, the junior and the young adult list. I felt that was the fairest. I didn't necessarily really have a theme for picking out these books like I did in April. I read 3 of those books in April, and they were all junior books, or the middle grade books. So without further ado, here are these. We have 365 Days to Alaska by Kathy Carr. This is a middle grade book, and I believe it is contemporary. It's about a girl who moves to Minnesota, I believe, from Alaska and wants to go back home. Next, we have a book that I'm really not excited to read, but I'm making it my goal to get through this whole list. So I decided, let me go ahead and read it now and get it out of the way. And that is Enduring Freedom by Jawad Arash and Trent Reedy. It is a fictionalized story of their life. Yeah. Next, we have one that I actually own now. I forget when I picked it up. the Owl Crate sale. And that is This Poison Heart by Kaylin Barron. This one and this one are both on the YA list. Next we have one that I'm actually really excited about because I read her previous book 2 years ago for my SESL project, and that is Bluebird by Sharon Cameron. It is longer than I remembered. It did blurb the previous book, The Light in Hidden Places, which was such an interesting take on an aspect of World War II history that I really didn't know that much about. This next one that I chose, I thought that I had an ARC of it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. And that is Maisie Chen's Last Chance by Lisa Yee. And I'm really excited about this. This is a Newbery Honor book. I've heard really good things about this book. And then lastly, we have You'd Be Home Now by Kathleen Glasgow. So obviously Bluebird was YA, Maisie Chen's Last Chance is middle grade, and this is YA, and it deals with the effects of an opioid addiction, but I don't know exactly how. I do have another one of the YA books on hold still at the library. I don't know if the hold will come in during the month of May, but if it does, I'll be reading that one as well. I also have holds on a couple of physical copies of ARCs that I have, but those have not come in yet. Those are on order, so I don't know if I will get those in the month of May. If not, if I get to those books before that point comes, then obviously I'll cancel those holds. But I'm not going to go through individually all of the ARCs that I want to get to, because that is a really, really long list. But if I get through all of the ARCs that I have listed on here, I will be so close to being caught up with my ARCs, and then I can start reading the ones that come out the next month. I'm really excited about that prospect. But instead of going through the list, I'm just going to pop up a graphic over here that talks about, that displays all of the ARCs that I hope to possibly get to sometime this month. So there you go. There is my, again, ambitious May TBR, because we don't really have any days off in May. I don't like how they did the schedule this year. But when I finish May, I will be 2 days away from finishing the school year, and that will make me very happy. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.